Okay, hello again, everyone. Lar from Complete Test Success here. And what we're looking at today is academic IELTS writing task 1. So unfortunately, if you're doing general training IELTS, this lesson is not suitable for you. And it's not very complicated. I'm going to show you a question. I'm going to get you to attempt various parts of writing a task 1 essay. And I'm going to give you feedback on basically any mistakes that you make. So nothing more complicated than that. And basically the whole lesson is based on your work. So I'm giving you feedback, showing you what type of mistakes you're making, showing you how to avoid those mistakes. So get involved. Let me see what you can produce and let me help you improve that. Hello to Diana and Vincy, our regular. How are you today, Vincy? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you back here again. Okay, so with that, we may as well get started. This is the question here. Chidabir, hello, welcome. So this is the question we're looking at, and my first task for you is simply this: write the paraphrase. So for any of you who are not completely familiar, let me just explain that the paraphrase is where we take this part of the question. It says the chart below shows Portuguese people's favorite season divided into 3 different age groups. So we want to rewrite that in our own words. Now, the thing is, if you need to copy some words from the question, that's okay. But what you don't want is to copy long strings. So you don't want to copy Portuguese people's favorite season. That's too many words in a row. But if you end up copying, 1 or 2 words, kind of from different parts of the question statement, that's absolutely no problem. Okay, so I want you to write the paraphrase and share that with me in the comments. And then, of course, I will have feedback for you and I'll show you what mistakes you're making. Hello, Alfie. Good to see you here. Hey, Alexia. I'm trying to write essay. Excellent. That's it, Vincy. Good job. So like I said earlier, this video is mainly based on your work. So I'm not necessarily teaching you how to write an essay. I'm more guiding you through the process and showing you what mistakes you're making. But I do have a playlist on YouTube and a playlist on Facebook. So just in case you're completely new to IELTS writing, if this is something you've never done before, then I would advise you to take a look at this playlist here, Complete Academic IELTS Writing Task 1 Guide. So there's one link for Facebook and one link for YouTube. So whichever platform you use, you'll find it there. And that will basically teach you how to write them. And then this lesson will make more sense where I'm just giving feedback. Hey, Savika, long time no see. Nyung Cham, hello, best teacher. Thank you. That's nice to hear. Adnan, good afternoon. Hello to you, Adnan. Welcome to the lesson. Okay, so obviously we'll just need a moment to wait for everyone to write their paraphrases. And as soon as we do, I'll be given feedback. And then, of course, what I'll do is I'll take one paraphrase that is mostly accurate. I'll add it to the screen, and then we'll start to work our way through the essay. Hello, Nitesh. Good to see you here again. Okay, so we have our first paraphrase here from Alfie. The bar graph displays, good, people in Portugal 4 favorite season for 3 different age categories. Yep, some grammatical errors. So it should be the bar graph displays the favorite seasons of people from Portugal according to 3 different age categories. So just some language errors, but you've done a good job in that it has the same meaning as the question statement. So the biggest mistake you can make is if the meaning is not the same, or if the meaning isn't clear. Then, of course, language errors are lesser problems. Okay, good job, Alfie. Chidabir, the bar chart illustrates the best season for the individuals in Portugal in 3 separate age groups. Okay, so it's not that it's necessarily the best, but it's the one that they like best. So illustrates the seasons that individuals in Portugal like best in 3 separate age groups. Okay, so you're on Facebook. I'm actually just going to grab this and I'll add it to the screen, just so that we have one to work with. And even with that, I think we're ready to move forward to the next part of the lesson. So let me just add this to the screen and I'll correct the mistakes, the language mistakes. Okay. The bar chart illustrates the season. Bar chart illustrates the seasons that individuals from Portugal like best according to 3 separate age groups. Lovely. Okay, so that is basically the first part of our answer. We've written the paraphrase. Now, I know other people are sending their paraphrases in the comments, and I will continue to give you feedback on your paraphrases. However, what I'm also interested in at the moment is to move forward. And I want you to tell me, how do we analyze this question? So we're about to write the paraphrase. And if you followed my task 1 lessons, you'll know that there are 2 different ways we use to analyze task 1 graphs and charts. So can anybody tell me, how do we analyze the question on the screen right now? Adnan, the bar chart delineates the Portuguese inhabitants' most liked seasons, which are classified into 3 various age groups. Okay, so a few things. First of all, punctuation. Start the sentence with a capital T, end the sentence with a full stop. The other thing then is you're trying too hard to change every word in your paraphrase. So yes, you need to change as many words as possible, but what you're doing here is you're changing so many words that it is not possible to understand clearly what you're saying. So the bar chart delineates, well, no, it shows. And if you don't know another word for shows, you can just say shows. The Portuguese's inhabitants was just people from Portugal, Portuguese people. So it's not necessarily an inhabitant of a country. It could be the Portuguese citizens most liked. But again, you're just trying too hard to change every word, and that's resulting in a less clear paraphrase. Nitesh, the bar graph illustrates, good, the information about the favorite weather. Seasons aren't weather, so seasons are time of year, of Portuguese people in 3 distinct age groups, and then a full stop. Okay, so very close, just that weather and seasons are not the same thing. Cham, again, make sure you start your sentence with a capital T. The bar chart illustrates, good, the preference of seasons among 3 age groups of Portuguese people. Yes, very well put. Good job, Cham. And Endless Me, hello to you. Again, capital T for the at the start of the sentence. The chart illustrates how people with different age groups in Portugal favor 4 different seasons. Good. Portugal has a capital P, the has a capital T. Good. Hi, David. The bar charts show, there's only one bar chart, so you don't have bar charts. the bar chart shows the best seasons, but they're not the best. It's the ones that people like best. So that's not the same thing. For the individuals in Portugal in 3 separate age groups. Good. Sir, the chart is not clear. I think it's probably a bit too small. Problem is I'm going to have the chart covered up. This was the original problem. I talked about this before, but basically the reason why I spent about, I don't know, maybe about 8 months without doing any academic task 1 questions, because I was afraid that it wouldn't be clear. But students kept asking and asking and asking, so I wanted to help. But it is a problem in that, there's a lot of information on the screen at the same time. So the only suggestion is it's probably unclear if you're on a phone. So if you're watching it this way, could you potentially turn your phone that way? That might help. If that's not a solution, I'm not sure what will help you. But I know that there's a lot of information on the screen at the same time. But obviously, you can't see the chart that way. So that's the only choice that we have. James, the question is not clear. It could be internet. Could be internet as well. If the screen is blurred, it could be your internet connection, because YouTube often and Facebook often puts you on a lower resolution when you have internet issues. Vinci, the bar chart illustrates the seasons according to 3 separate age groups. No. So what you've missed is we're talking about the seasons that Portuguese people like best. So that is a very important piece of information. Okay, so my next question for you here was, how do we analyze the question? Now, I haven't had any answers to this yet, so let me just describe to you what we're looking for. What we're looking for is we're either going to look, and this is to get ready for writing the overview. So how do we analyze it? So we're either going to look for increases and decreases, or we're going to look for the highest and the lowest values. Okay, so can you just tell me, before we move forward, do we analyze this graph according to increases and decreases, or according to highest and lowest values? So I'll give you a minute with that. The bar chart demonstrates preferences of certain age groups in Portugal regarding the weather they enjoy. So the seasons that they like best. So the weather they enjoy is inaccurate, but the language is good. Hi, Bincy. So we can write the overview by pointing out the highest and lowest. Overall, it is evident that the same period is the most preferred among all age groups, while the list is, I think you meant to say the lowest is winter. Yes. So highest and lowest is correct. So the reason for this, the reason that we're looking at highest and lowest, let me just zoom in on this for you guys a little bit. The reason that we're looking for highest and lowest is that we don't have different time periods. There's only one time period. So when we look here, we have percentages. When we look here, we have seasons. And when we look down here, we have age groups. So if there was more than one time period, somewhere on the chart, it would say, like 2010, 2020, 2030, 2040. So the names of the years, or it could be, January, February, March, April. So it would be over time. But in this case, it's not over time. We're just looking at one time period and various data based on one time period. So yes, we are looking for highest and lowest values. That is correct. So then my next question for you, my next task for you, is to write the overview. Okay, so write the overview for this task. And again, share it with me in the comments, and I will have feedback for you based on what you've put together. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Bar chart essay in YouTube. Sorry, Bincy, I'm not sure what you're asking me. Mohammed, the given bar graph illustrates that the Portuguese peoples, like most seasons, just grammatically, that's not right. Illustrate which season Portuguese people like best, divided into 3 age groups. So just a few language mistakes, but you understand what you're going for. Don't worry about language like elucidate. Just say shows or illustrates. That would be fine. Climate is not the same as season. Portuguese needs a capital P, and you've spelt that correctly. And a group and a circle would not be the same. So mainly for you, you're going to have to work on language. You're going to have to work on improving your vocab and your grammar. Okay, and overall, it is evident that the summer period is the most preferred among all age groups, while the lowest is winter. Okay, now you're very, very close here, but you're missing something. Okay, you're very, very close, but you're missing something. So it's not 100% accurate at the moment. One extra piece of information is necessary. Zoom ID, I don't know. Sorry, Vinci. This is on. We're just on YouTube. You don't need a Zoom. You don't need a Zoom link at the moment. That's for my my Zoom classes are on tomorrow. I have a Zoom class tomorrow. So I think what Vinci is talking about is my live feedback lessons, which are my free group classes on Zoom for my email subscribers. So Zoom, you'll find the Zoom links once you subscribe for those. I think that's what Vinci is talking about. So Vinci, here, this link, free live feedback lessons on Zoom. You'll find that in the comments. Just click that link, sign up, and then you'll see the schedule. Again, they cover all parts of the Ielts test. And if I'm being very honest, I don't remember what we're looking at tomorrow. But you know, it's going to be reading, writing, listening, or speaking. It's some part of Ielts. Okay. In general, while summer has been chosen the best season, while summer has been chosen as the best season among all, so they're not 4 age groups, among all 3 age groups. And this looks like a small mistake. You said 4 age groups instead of 3, but that's considered inaccurate data. And what you've done now is you've limited your task achievement score to a band 6. That one small mistake saying 4 age groups when really the chart has 3 age groups. So that's going to keep your score down. Okay, so you need a conjunction. Say like while among the 3 age groups, comma, while they chose winter as the least preferred season. So again, you have the same issue as Chedabir, where you're missing one little piece of information. And remember, your overviews have to be accurate. Your overviews have to be accurate. And at the moment, those 2 overviews are not. So just be careful. Just be careful with those. Alfie. Overall, summer is the most liked season in all age groups. Meanwhile, winter is the least liked group. However, autumn is equally the least liked in the youngest group. There, that's what we were missing. So that's what I was talking with Solwyn and Chedabir. What you were missing is that extra piece of information that Alfie spotted. Okay, so just give me a moment. I'm going to grab Alfie's overview and we can add that to the screen. Okay. Overall, summer is the most liked season in all age groups, while winter is the least season. However, autumn has an equally the least liked in by the youngest age group. Good. Good job, Alfie. So that is our first paragraph finished. So we finished with the overview. Okay, so once we've finished that, so we've paraphrased the question, written our overview, and again, the overview is the most difficult, no, the most important part of your answer. If you don't write an overview, you are limited to a band 5 for task achievement at the very, very highest. You might get lower, but you definitely will not get higher. So the overview is really important. So from there, we need to write our details paragraphs. But before we write those details paragraphs, we need to consider how we're going to organize them. So we're going to have 2 details paragraphs, and we want to have about the same amount of information, or at least they need to be about the same length. So before we write them, we're going to decide how will we organize them. So are we going to have 1 age group in the first and 2 age groups in the second? Are we going to have 2 seasons in the first and 2 seasons in the second? Is there another possible way that we can organize them? So we need to make that decision first. There's no point in starting writing if we don't know what information we're going to put in the paragraphs. So before we write the details paragraphs, we must decide what information will go in each of them. All right, so that is your task right now. Answer that question for me and tell me what you feel would be the most logical organization. And while you're doing that, I will continue giving feedback to the other students. Tom, overall, it is clear that the percentage of under 15-year-olds who like summer best is the highest, while it is the lowest for the group of 65 years or older. So when you go where was summer highest and where was summer lowest, you focused on just one category. So if you decide to do it that way, and it's not incorrect, but what ends up happening is you can't just mention summer, you have to mention spring, autumn, and winter as well. So what you've done is you have referred in your overview, you have referred to 25% of the information. But what you need to do is you need to refer to everything. You can't just ignore 3 of the categories. So if you want to do it according to where was summer highest and where was summer lowest, you have to do the same thing for spring, autumn, and winter. So if you decide to write your answer that way, you have to be consistent and do it for every category. Now, it's not wrong, but what's going to happen is that it is going to be a very long overview, because now you have to mention 1, 2, 3, 4, you have to mention 8 different categories where each one was highest and where each one was lowest. Whereas this way, you're just saying which was the favorite in each one, which was the least favorite in each one. And that is not necessarily more accurate, but definitely easier to describe. And considering, your essay, you're only going to write about 180 words and you only have 20 minutes, you're going to, going for the more concise version is a better option. Winter is the least liked in all age groups. So that was just a grammar mistake, was it, Alfie? Okay. In addition to this, spring and summer are the most liked seasons among all the age groups. Okay, so we'll just go the fact that summer is no. So when you say spring and summer are the most liked, go for the one. Go for the one that's most liked. So don't try to include two together. And if spring was most liked in one age group and summer was most liked in a different age group, we would mention those individually. So it just so happens in this essay, in this question, that summer is the highest in all of them. But if that wasn't true, you would have to say each one individually. So you won't ever just say spring and summer are the highest. You're never going to put the two of them together like that. You're going to say where summer is highest and where spring is highest. But of course, in this case, summer was the highest in every one of them. So what I'm saying doesn't apply to this question, just advice for future questions. Nitesh, overall, it can be seen that the percentage of individuals who like, so it has to be like, summer is, so who like summer best is by far the highest. I wouldn't say by far the highest. It's not all that higher than spring, but by far the lowest is winter in the given time periods. But again, spring it's not by far the lowest because there's not, but definitely not in the youngest age group where the two lowest are the same or of equal value. So we're saying what's autumn is equal in the youngest age group. So what you're doing here is what you're doing here is you're giving information that's inaccurate. So you're right to use, to be more descriptive where possible. So like is by far the highest. I mean, it's great to say that if it's true, but at the moment it's inaccurate. So be careful. Don't just add words because you think it'll improve your answer. Only describe what the question shows. Okay, Amanda. Overall, summer is the most preferred season by all age groups, while winter is the least preferred. And then we need that extra bit about the youngest age group and autumn being equal. Okay. Data provided in the form of a bar chart which compares the percentages of 4 seasons most preferred by Portuguese in 3 age groups. That's a bit unclear. The data provided in the form of a bar chart which compares the percentages of 4 seasons of which season is most preferred by Portuguese people in 3 age groups. Okay, so just grammatically and some vocab issues there. Okay, so let's just move on. I'll come back to the overviews. I want to try and push forward with the lesson. So should we have two paraphrase overview should we have the paraphrase and overview in the same paragraph? I like to put it that way. It doesn't have to be, but that's my favorite way to do it. 2 seasons in one paragraph, spring, summer in one paragraph, and the remaining in the next paragraph. Overall, okay, so I'll come back to that. I just want to look at this organization, one body paragraph, the highest and lowest, one body paragraph, the rest of the seasons. No, I wouldn't do that. I don't know. I kind of feel for me it would be putting the highest one as the first in the first paragraph and the lowest as the last in the second paragraph would be more logical. So then you'd have like highest, the two in the middle, and the lowest. So they're kind of more logically organized. I'm going to go against what you all said. Let me just show you why. But my thoughts on this are, I want to organize it with, and let me just get my pen here now and I'll show you. I want to put, actually, before I say this, you guys are not wrong. What you said is not wrong. It's fine. If you have a good reason to organize them with 2 seasons in one paragraph and 2 seasons in the other paragraph, that's fine. It's just not the way I want to do it. And I'm teaching the lesson, so we're going to do it my way. So you're not wrong, but let me just explain why I would do it differently. So what I want to do is I want to put under 15 years old in one paragraph. So this will be body paragraph 1. And I want to put the other 2 age groups in the second paragraph, in the second body paragraph. Now, The reason for this is that when we look at summer here, it's the highest percentage of any season throughout the chart. Okay, so we look at the line there. There's no other category that goes as high as that. So that's kind of that's my first thought, because I want to mention that in my graph. After that, I'm looking at the fact that autumn and winter are the same level. So it's going to be more, it's going to require more words to describe this. So that's going to take more of our time as well. So I think because of these two features, I want to put the under 15-year-olds in one paragraph, and then I will use more words to talk about that. I need more words to talk about that because, you know, there's more going on. Then I will just put those two together because, you know, there's nothing really that exciting going on here. Maybe the fact that winter is the lowest of all percentages across the chart. But again, you know, when it comes to the features, we tend to be more interested in higher figures than we are in lower figures. So if anything, you know, if I was going to only mention one, it would be the highest one, but we might also add the lowest one. Okay, so that's what I want. I want to talk about the youngest age group in the first paragraph. So this is what we're going to discuss here. And that is the next task for you now. I want you to write body paragraph 1. And let me just get that up for you. Write the first details paragraph. Body paragraph, details paragraph, same thing. So I want you to write the first body paragraph or the first details paragraph based on the youngest age group. As normal, share that with me in the comments, and I'll have feedback, and we'll look at ways to improve. Okay, so I'm going to stay giving feedback on people's overviews. This is where it gets a bit tricky because I'm going to be putting people's comments up on the screen and you're trying to look at the data. So it might actually be easier for you to just pause on the question now, and then you can catch back up when you're ready to share. Okay, endless me. Overall, summer is the favorite season for all the age groups, plural, despite their age group. I don't know what that means. And you need to delete despite their age group. Whereas winter is the least favored except for age group less than 15, where it is favored as little as autumn. You're adding in extra bits, this like despite their age group. That's confusing. And you need to work on articles. You're making a lot of article mistakes. Should we have paraphrase and overview in the same paragraph? Yep, you can put them in different paragraphs. It doesn't matter. If you prefer putting them in different paragraphs, that's fine. I personally like putting them in the same paragraph because I think the paraphrase is one sentence, and one sentence isn't really a paragraph in my mind. But it's not wrong. That's just my own preference. 2 seasons in one paragraph. Okay, and like I said earlier, there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. Just I want to put the youngest in its own the youngest age group in one paragraph because there's more to discuss about that. Endless me, summer, spring in one paragraph remaining. Yep. So again, that would have been fine. Overall, in Portugal, not Portuguese, so Portuguese is the adjective. So overall, in Portugal, the proportion of summer season dominated favorable in all types of ages. So Tina, you are making things very complicated for yourself. Could you have said that more clearly if you had used less complex vocabulary, or more common vocabulary? So it seems like you're trying very much to show your range of vocab, and the outcome of that is that you're not communicating clearly. So a better answer would have had more clarity and less range. So it's a delicate balance. I mean, you want to show your range of vocab, but not like this. Not when you're sacrificing clarity. So if the examiner cannot understand what you're saying, that's a bigger issue, because that's going to affect your vocab score. But also, even if your overview is accurate, if we can't understand your overview, then the examiner is not going to assume that your overview is correct if they can't understand it. The assumption will be, I don't understand it, and that means that there's essentially no overview. So it hurts more than just your vocab score when you make those types of mistakes. Okay, so we talked about that already. So I'm just going to give the same amount of feedback to everyone. I'm not going to get caught up, just got kind of really focusing on one student. I want everyone to benefit from the lesson. But just very briefly, yeah, so I was saying about articles. Yeah, so we talked about that. Next time, can you teach us pie charts? I can, but I will probably have forgotten by the time. I will definitely cover pie charts at some point, but we're going to be going through speaking, task 1, general training, task 2. So by the time we get back to task 1, Bincy, I'm sorry, my memory isn't fantastic. So there's a very good chance I'll have forgotten at that point. Hello, Alicia. Mohammed, overall, it is seen that the summer season is the highest choice. So it's not the highest choice. We don't use high to describe choice. So it would be the summer season has the highest figures, you could say that, or has the highest percentages among all age groups, whilst the winter season has the least. And then it would be but the autumn season is at the same level as winter, and you need to say where. Is at the same level as winter amongst the youngest age group. Okay. John, looking at the chart more closely, one can see that roughly 45% of under 15-year-olds like summer, which is the higher percentage of all the age groups. Yes. What I was pointing out as well is it's not just the highest percentage of all the age groups, it's the highest percentage of any season in any age group. So you're correct. What I was referring to is different, but it's also perfect. What you've said is accurate. Meanwhile, 30% of this group favors spring and only 12% like autumn and winter each. So that grammatically, that's just a little bit confusing there. Okay, so Cham, let me just grab your answer here. I'm going to add it to the screen and we'll just tidy it up a little bit. Okay, just to make it easier to see, I'm just going to make the first paragraph smaller because our focus now is on the body paragraph here. Okay, looking at the chart more closely, one can see that roughly, okay, right. One can see that roughly 45% of under 15-year-olds like summer best. Summer best. And this is highest percentage of any season in all the age groups. Okay. So that's that one done. And now we're looking at the blue, spring. I can probably see this a little bit closer than you, but it looks ever so slightly higher than 30%. And in general, it's a good rule of thumb to include roughly, approximately, about those types of things when you're describing the data, because when we have to take the line and kind of look across here and see what the percentage is, there's a room for error. So we're never really 100% sure that it's exactly 30. It might be 29.98. We don't know for sure. So in general, it's a good idea to just say about. So meanwhile, just above, because I can see the chart, I can see it's a little bit above the line. Just above 30% of this group favored spring, and only 12% liked autumn or winter. I'd probably draw more attention to the fact that autumn and winter have the same percentage, although we've already discussed it in the overview. So yeah, that's not too bad. Okay. Meanwhile, just 30% of this group favored spring, and only 12% liked autumn or winter. No, I'm going to change it around just to make it a bit. Let's do this. While just above 30% of this group favored spring, autumn and winter as I'm after change in favor, and it's not in the past. That's a big mistake I make, and it's always for me, it's when I need to proofread my answers. That's always the thing. I just instinctively I write in the past, even when the graph is not showing information in the past. So that's my consistent mistake that I make when I write task 1 essays. Okay, autumn and winter has the same approximate figure of what are we calling that? 12%. Okay. So just to make it 100% clear that autumn and winter weren't considered as one category, I want to keep them separate. I know you put the word each in your answer. Cham, you put the word each in your answer, but it's just clearer this way. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then, of course, we do the same thing for the other age groups. Obviously, I'm not going to have time to go through another paragraph with you, but having said that, it still gives you a pretty good idea of what you're aiming for. So you're just going to do as we did for this category in relation to the other age groups. So your next paragraph will be 15 to 64-year-olds and 65 years and older. You're going to discuss them, but we're not going into the same level of detail. So, here we have only 1, 2, 3. Well, that's essentially by 2. So 4 percentages, but we have to cover 8 percentages in the next paragraph. So not as many words between each percentage. We're just going to relay the data more concisely in the next paragraph. And that's basically why I wanted to put one. That's basically why I wanted to put one category, one age group in one paragraph, because I wanted to discuss it in that extra bit of detail. Okay. So besides that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the rest of the comments we already have. And that'll be pretty much it for today. So Chidabir, we're going to remove the S. So in detail, Portuguese categorized. So we'll just say under 15-year-old Portuguese people had the highest percentage of people who had the higher percentage choosing summer as their favorite at about 45%. Is that accurate? 45? Yep. The second most liked season in this group is spring, node, with 30% preferring that. Finally, the proportion of individuals in this list, in this age group, that choose autumn and winter, small w, had an equal number of just 1/10 each. And you just say of about 1/10 each would be okay. You can see it is above. Let me just get that out of your way. It is above 10. If you look at the line there, you can see, let me just get my pen here. You can see the line for 10 along here. Oh, if I had a steadier hand. So it definitely is above 10. So that data that you've given is inaccurate. And again, that would keep your task achievement score down. So those little mistakes all add up. So be careful with the accuracy. It's very, very important. Okay. Okay, so I have quite a few comments left here. So I'm going to just start pushing through them a bit faster so that we can finish up on time, which is consistent. Sorry, endless me. Oh, I missed your one there. Okay. In the age group of less than 15, summer is favored by almost 45%, which is the highest of all age groups. So article mistake there. Winter, capital W. So you're making punctuation mistakes. Capital W because it's the first word in the sentence. In the same way, in needed a capital I at the start of the previous sentence. Winter and autumn are least favored by little more than 10%, and spring has 30%. So what I'd recommend here is start with the highest, go with the one that's 45, then talk about the one that's 30, then talk about the one that's, a little more than 10. So rather than going biggest, smallest, middle, you go biggest, middle, smallest. Try to organize your paragraphs that way. I'm not sure what you mean by that there now, endless me. For the Portuguese people aged under 15 years old, approximately 45% like this summer season, comma, whereas spring is just 25% less. No. Oh, less preferred by them. So so you want me to take 45 and minus 25, so that's 20. So you're making me do the math. Well, it was 30, not 20, and don't make the reader do math. They shouldn't have to go back and figure it out themselves. Not like that anyway. In the under 15 population, summer is the most favorable season, liked by almost half of the population. So give the percentage. Whereas spring is only favored by a third. However, autumn and winter seasons are only liked by slightly over 10%. Just go with the percentages. I know you're looking to expand your range, but in a lot of cases, it's not going to be as clear when you try to use fractions instead of percentages. And you're limiting yourself to, the well-known fractions don't really cover all that many. So I'd say just go with the percentages. You'll be fine. You'll get a good score without that. without the fractions. Okay. Himananda. So in particular, the summer season is favored by under 15-year-olds, is the most favored by under 15-year-olds with more than 40%. Can you try to be a bit more accurate with that? So more than 40%. So, it's halfway between 40 and 50. So, you can go a bit more accurate than that. Comma, while spring is about 30%. Good. Now, you cannot use whereas to start a new sentence. Whereas has to go between two clauses in the same sentence. So it's to start a new clause, but not to start a new sentence like that. Whereas autumn and winter have about 10% each. Okay, Tina. As can be seen from the chart, for the first age group less than 15 years old, who are less than 15 years old, summer, small s, summer was the most favorable season at nearly 45%. And then you need to say this. So like this was followed by spring, which accounted for approximately a third. Now you've used fractions and it's much clearer than when Alfie did that. Alfie said, whereas spring is only favored by a third. Maybe it's because you've used approximately. This is much clearer when you said accounted for approximately a third. Maybe it's the approximately. I think that makes it clear, makes it more accurate. So that must have been my problem with Alfie. Looking at you do this, Tina, I have no problem with you using fractions. Alfie, the way you do it, it's not as clear. It's not as easy to understand. However, autumn and winter were the least preferred in this group, with just a little more. When you have just and a little, you don't use just and a little together. So you could say with just over a tenth or with a little more than a tenth. So you'll need to edit that in some way. It is noteworthy that there was a big gap in favor between seasons. I would remove that last sentence. You've already explained what all the data is, so that's not necessary. Okay, Solwyn. Those under 15 years old claim summer is the best season with a whopping 45%. Whopping is too informal. It's a good word, but not for this type of writing. With 45% of them choosing it over spring, which is regarded as the most enjoyable by just 30% of them. Okay, well written. Obviously, we need the other two categories as well, so that wouldn't be finished. Oh, I see the rest of your writing here. In contrast, autumn and winter are least preferred in this age group, with merely 12% each. Don't use brackets like that. Brackets are avoiding using grammar. So they're an easy way to avoid grammar, but this is an English test. So, you want to show what you're capable of doing. So I would recommend to avoid brackets. And you've already shown us that, you have a nice level of English already. So you don't need to do that. Okay, good. Mohammed, overall, it can be seen that the summer season has the highest percentage of choice, whilst winter season has the least percentage of choice among all age groups. So remove of choice has the highest percentage, whilst winter, and remove season as well. Let's say this. Overall, it can be seen that summer has the highest percentage, whilst winter has the lowest percentage among all age groups. However, autumn is equally liked, but it's the lowest percentage, so we wouldn't really say that the equally liked. But you're right, it is equally liked by young people. But other two groups have no. Let's say this. However, autumn has an equal percentage with the youngest age group. Please give me feedback. So I'm giving feedback to everyone. I'm not sure if I don't think I missed you, I recall. No. I think maybe you wrote this comment before I gave you feedback. I wrote over 1/10, sir. Over a tenth. So say like maybe slightly over a tenth would be fine. Hello, sir. I just joined. Can I see your recording later on? Yep. The recording will be on Facebook and YouTube. Solwyn, in contrast, autumn and winter are least preferred. Okay, we looked at this. Okay, so this is the last one. So just wrapping it up in time. Good. Greetings, sir. Is there a fixed time for these lessons? As I am new to this, is my first time to see this notification on my mobile. Thanks for your assistance. Yep. So I'll have the same. It'll be the same starting time next week. So where I am in Ireland is 10:30. I'm GMT +1 at the moment. So that is, you can calculate it that way, but easier is if you just subscribe. You'll get notifications, or if you go to my channel, my YouTube channel, you'll see, just go to my homepage of my YouTube channel, you'll see the time in your own time zone. It converts the times into wherever you are. And the same with Facebook. At the top of my Facebook page, you'll see the live video and it'll give you the time based on your time zone. So that's probably an easier way. You have not given feedback. I've gone through every comment. It does happen on occasion where comments don't appear. I've had that happen before. The data is provided in the form of a bar chart which compares the percentages of 4 seasons most preferred by Portuguese in 3 age groups. Yep, just put Portuguese people. Was this the one you were looking for? The data is provided in the form of a bar chart which compares the percentages of 4 seasons. Let's say the percentages of the most preferred seasons by Portuguese people in 3 age groups. That would be clearer. Okay, so I think that's all we have time for today. Like I was saying earlier on, I have the free live feedback lessons tomorrow on Zoom for my email subscribers. So I'm just going to share that with you in the comments again. I know a lot of you are already signed up, but just we have a few new faces here today. So you can click on that link and subscribe, and then I'll see you tomorrow. I have another video coming up on Thursday, and I'll be back again next week here as well. Okay, so that's it for today. Take care of yourselves, everyone, and talk to you next time. Be good. Enjoy the rest of the week. And if you do have your IELTS test coming up, best of luck with that. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.